Welcome to Who Knew. We are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, and here we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights into the modern regeneration of the show. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WhoKnewPodcast. All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com. You can leave comments there, or email us at whoknewpodcast@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram and Twitter account. Tweet at us at whoknewpodcast, and find us on Facebook. Today's episode is the Five-ish Doctors reboot. It is written and directed by Peter Davison, and it aired on the 23rd of November 2013 on the BBC Red Button service, which is like a on-demand service for those of us in the States. With the 50th special of Doctor Who about to film, the classic Doctors want to be involved, but with the anniversary drawing near, will they manage to get into the special? Hi, this is Eugene. Let's introduce ourselves.
Hello, mates. It's Kelsey.
Hello, this is Frank.
Hi, this is Brian.
Hello, this is Auburn.
On YouTube, we found a Pensacola convention from 2016 when Peter Davison was on panel. He had the idea, it's about 2.5 years before the 50th, knowing that he and the others would not fit into it because they had aged and all this. And at one previous convention from this, he said that if they won't let him in, he'll just write his own. Which was an offhand comment, a joke. Everybody in the audience laughed. And the next convention he went to, someone said, "So you're writing a 50th?" was one of the questions. And so in his mind, from what he had said, is he was going to just take his own camera and go around, do a 5-minute type of thing. And he called up Sylvester and Colin, and they were in it. And he did call Stephen Moffat to see if he would do a cameo in it. And he said yes. So he was working on it. He mailed in the script to Stephen Moffat, who didn't have time to read it, so gave it off to someone else who said, this could make a really good addition to the 50th, this whole idea. And so they called up Davison to write it and direct it and gave him like £25,000, to work with, which is not a lot, but he thought it was, but then the money goes.
He thought it was.
Yeah, but money just goes really quickly when you're trying to film something.
And they gave him a camera crew to do it.
Yes. Which it sounded great. It's like, so it just starts snowballing on this whole thing. And he was saying that Sylvester wanted to do it, but that he had to go back and finish The Hobbit, which started the whole joke running through this episode.
Oh,
of just constantly mentioning, yes, I am in The Hobbit.
Yes, that was good.
And you got to give it to Sylvester McCoy that he was able to take that and say, I'm going to make fun of myself.
Yeah.
Yes, they worked well in writing this, I think, or having that in there. And Sylvester said he could talk to Peter Jackson, and Peter Jackson never got back to Davison. And then Davison finally sent an email saying, please reconsider or think about doing this. And about 3 minutes later, the email came back, of course. And since we're shooting down here, I'll see if I can get Ian McKellen to join in. And so just another snowball of just getting bigger and bigger. And so that was really good. And he had shot around 35 minutes of finished film. And then the higher ups at BBC and those that program everything who are not the creative side said, it's really good. I think it'd be much better if we cut it down to 10 minutes. So he said a couple of days went by when they were arguing back and forth, and Davison finally said, fine, if you're going to make me cut it down to 10 minutes, I am telling the fans you're doing this.
Yeah, he'll work it into the story.
No, he'll just tell. He's just going to leak to the news, everybody.
The BBC cut me down.
BBC cut down to 10 minutes. And that put the fear of God into it. So it's a 33-minute. You cut out around a minute something. Yes. Which the scenes that he cut, I also was able to find on YouTube. And it's like, yeah, good. It has a few little good jokes, but no, good. This is fine. So that's how it kind of started. And that the fans have that power. If they're going to really mess up something with Doctor Who, they'll hear about it. And he did thank Georgia, his daughter, who was producer on this, and how she was able to talk to all the different agents and get everything going. And just this one little offhanded comment where you wanted to be part of the 50th, but it doesn't fit into it. Just from the realistic world of, yeah, I'm a lot older than I was then. It just is a fact. To creating this, I think this to me is the real 50th special.
Oh, yeah.
So this is fun. This opens up with Sean Pertwee and Olivia Colman talking about projects they're working on. And Sean Pertwee is the son of John Pertwee, the third Doctor, and then he plays Alfred, I think, on Gotham. And I remember him from A Soldier with Kurt Russell. And then Olivia Colman, Oscar-winning Olivia Colman. She says she hasn't been asked, but she's in everything.
Yes.
That was great to open it with that. It kind of set the stage for what this little special is about.
Could you remind me what she was in around that time, or of 2013?
They had finished Broadchurch, series, and they're going to do a second one. She was in Doctor Who as
Prisoner Zero.
Prisoner Zero, holding the kid so she's in that, which we're like, wow, they could have done more with that role. With her, it's great.
I'm looking specifically on 2013, a lot of stuff that I have not seen. Let's look. I'm going to look a little bit before that. Yeah, it's a lot of British TV. Skins, Midsummer Murders,
She was
Mr.
on
11.
Skins?
She was on one episode.
Oh.
She's on everything.
She is on everything.
I really like the self-deprecating kind of humor, and I think Peter Davison does a great job of giving all the characters their role to play and deprecating themselves.
If you take this as a traditional hero's journey type of thing, his call to action is as soon as his kids are done watching the Snowman Christmas special. And I like how the one is behind the couch.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, Doctor Who's been on for 50 years. Are you going to be in it? No. So is it just going to be Matt Smith and David Tennant? They're like, yeah. And then he's like, I have to fix this.
Right.
And then it cuts to the opening sequence and it's just perfect.
Yeah.
He really did write it well. When I first saw this, I was a bit upset because I wanted them in the 50th special, because it's about the series being around for that long. And since they're still here and you can get them, right. But the way that they were doing the 50th was part of the storyline, just from the War Doctor forward. So you can see if that's the story they're going to go with, the others don't quite fit in. You can't really just bring them in story-wise, or because also their age different and they had already transitioned in the storyline to another Doctor when they were younger. So
Yeah, but the ironic thing is for the 50th they got Tom Baker, who
yes,
famously never ever came back. Whereas everybody else.
He's not in this one.
No, but he is, I'm saying they actually got him in the 50th.
Mm-hmm.
well, getting every Doctor that's around now except for Baker, which then turned out that he's in the other special, worked out really well, even though they put the film of Baker in it.
Well, that thing is funny for diehards because that's how he appeared in the 5 Doctor special, the one from the 80s.
Yes.
It was unused footage from something where
Shada.
this villain or what, the villain of the special is capturing all the Doctors, and then it gets Tom Baker, but something goes wrong, so you just see that footage, and then that's it. He doesn't get out of his stasis crystal or whatever. So I think that's funny that I think it is Tom Baker's voice though.
No, it's a guy who
does
other stuff. He does other stuff, but he just famously has an impersonation of Tom Baker.
It's so perfect though, because he's just like, I'm busy in another dimension, leave a message.
I'm not entirely sure who it is, but I just remember them saying, oh my God, we actually got the impersonator of Tom Baker. And also with the 5 Doctors, there's also a famous promotional shot of all 5 Doctors. And if you look at it really closely, Tom Baker is a cardboard cutout.
I thought he was a wax statue.
Oh, really?
No?
Oh, it might be a wax statue. It might be his wax statue, yeah.
Anyway, the joke is he's not there.
Right.
Okay, so from there, I think Peter Davison has that dream where he's walking through the BBC halls.
Oh, yes.
And that's where we get Matt Smith and Jenna Coleman. And I love the one with Jenna Coleman because you are one of my favorite Doctors. And then he goes back, you were my favorite Doctor.
No. You were my mother's favorite Doctor. It's going in for the whole age. It's like, then rewind, you're my favorite Doctor.
It was just done so well, and they used Clara's theme and everything. It was great.
It really was. And they had so many different little cameos from all these different people that you have to watch it a couple times to try and figure it all out. I know that face. Who is this? But then you're just watching the whole thing.
And Tegan had the full-on close-up scene, but then they all had the swirling other companions.
Yes.
And,
No, yeah.
God, it was like, well, am I going to pause and name every... No.
Well, it's your favorite. Adric is in there.
Yeah.
And he explodes.
It's my fault. Boom.
I think when he exploded, Frank, was that the point where you said, "Oh wait, is that?"
That was
the one who
Adric.
explodes.
I mean, even for that actor to do that and to recognize what happened in his tenure, I was like, that's great that you can just look at this moment and laugh.
Yeah.
The transition between Janet Fielding be like, wake up, or it's never going to happen, to that being his wife, walk the dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was good.
Somebody in the background says their favorite doctor was Peter Cushing, kind of a controversial choice. Well, I think it was a news reporter.
Yes, it was a news reporter.
Yeah, controversial choice.
It was a lot of laughs. Like, I think Kelsey can attest, I laughed throughout the whole thing. It was just fun.
And like I said, sorry, the first time I didn't really like it all that much, but then the more you watch it, it's like everybody's having fun. Let that go. They're all in this because they couldn't fit into the other one. This is perfect.
Yeah, it's a super fun last hurrah of all these, this group of guys that play this iconic character. And yeah, it's just great that they are all having fun and making fun of themselves and like growing old and all of that all together. Like, yeah, it's really well done.
I think this is after this, what we're talking about here, it cuts to Sylvester McCoy. I think he's coming out of an airport because he has like that luggage trolley and he's got a Hobbit shirt on.
Mhm.
It's like he doesn't even have to say it. It's just there. And then he says it later.
Yes. But he also kept the umbrella, which was classic. I'm so glad they kept it without having it be that umbrella, but just, all right, nice. I like it.
Yeah. And then after we see Sylvester McCoy, it cuts to Colin Baker in his I guess his house kitchen, and he's reading it looks like an old magazine. It has his name on front. It's his doctor's photo, and it says the sixth doctor, and he's just looking at his phone. He's like, are they going to call me?
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
the anticipation and the like yearning to be wanted, but not wanting them to know that you want to be wanted. Like, that was all just so great. Yeah, very British, but very like, yeah.
Well, looking at them all, these three, the three doctors that are alive, and then it cuts back to Sylvester McCoy, and he's like doing this with his phone, like he's putting it to his lips. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, I like that. I don't know. You're thinking, you're trying to figure out how to call, or do you call again, or it's like, because they're all kept calling and trying to leave a message. And even I liked it when Colin was up on top of the lawnmower, trying to get a signal to talk, and it just, well, his wife is doing the gardening. He's not really helping. He's just down there. That was just a funny shot. I think Davison did really well in writing and directing this. It just really came off some great sight gags, a lot of little things that just you pass by a couple times. I have to watch it again going, that's what it was referring to. Georgia, he was trying to call his daughter, and she didn't answer, but she's eating with celery, which was his thing on his doctor's outfit, which is just a fun little thing that I didn't catch the first time.
This is also a quick thing when he's pitching his idea to Moffat. He's like, I can use my celery antidote. And there's one episode of his tenure where he does take the celery off his coat, breaks it, and gives it to somebody to make them feel better. And ever since then, it's like, and it had some kind of curing. I mean, it wasn't just a piece of celery. They were suggesting that it was something else. And ever since then, that's the only time they did it. And ever since then, the fans were like, the hell was that?
So at this point, Peter Davison goes to a convention, and he does the person at the checkout counter doesn't recognize him, so he's already put off from this convention. And then a girl in a Fourth Doctor Tom Baker shirt asks for Peter Davison's autograph. And I don't know if you guys caught this, but she goes, "It's Courtney," with a K, and he already started with a C, and they just put the line in to make the K. It's so hilarious the way he's completely turned off on these fans. He's like, next.
Well, doesn't she ask him if he's going to be in the 50th?
Yeah.
I think
he was all
maybe.
upset about that.
Yeah, and that's what he's upset about. Move on.
He doesn't even answer. He's just like, next.
Yeah, I like how they don't really have any fans until the end. As much as they are around fandom, there's no personal fans of theirs until the security guard at the end. But yeah, that's a great build.
I like the break room that they had, that scene.
With Paul McGann?
Because then they get another doctor. Paul McGann's in there. Oh, he's got a script.
He's always working. Yeah, but it's just television. I'm in the Hobbit.
Yeah, and even
Oh, and-
McGann seemed like he had a lot of fun, just like being his aloof self, like around all of them.
He's like,
And
not that I really care, but have you heard anything?
and didn't we hear later that he did know about his thing, but he couldn't tell anybody? So he
Right.
was acting like he wasn't going to be on it, and then he was on it.
Well, that's even makes it funnier his line when it goes, whatever you guys are planning, I'm in if I'm not
Mhm.
working. You know,
Projects permitting.
so
Peter Davison then calls BBC to try to get to Moffat, and the receptionist to Moffat is played by Nikki Wardley, and she plays Tamsin Drew, who is a companion to the Eighth Doctor in the Big Finish audio dramas.
Oh,
So I was like, why did they give so much time to this woman? But now it makes sense. They're not just wrangling all the classic Who people that are still around, but they're getting even Big Finish people. It's great.
and Moffat is so busy playing with the action figures. I thought about Eugene.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
we
that.
don't want to be disturbed.
And then she's like, we. I mean, her lines are like, yes, we have your number. You called yesterday. Oh, did I call yesterday?
And they were afraid to call Tom Baker. I'm not calling Tom. You should call Tom. Is he involved in this? I don't know.
And
Do
when
they-
is he-
Did they have
does he-
Sylvester call him?
No, it was
No,
Colin.
Oh,
he
it was
was on
Colin.
Celebrity show.
I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Where,
That's
where they
yeah.
terrible show where they dump celebrities in a jungle.
He said he
I know,
ate
like-
a possum anus.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I've done that. I can call Tom.
It's just good. It's just so much fun.
It's like they're laughing with it.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know,
And
I think some things, if you took out of context, would be mocking. But when you see it all together, it's like, no, they're not mocking.
Yeah, and it would be different if it was like a sketch comedy troupe doing this, but it's the people that are actually in the production or were in the production doing it. So I think that's why it doesn't come off as mocking.
Right.
And the thing that they're mocking isn't the show or the fans; it's their own like pride and
Yeah.
like vanity to be in it.
Or not to be asked to be in it. Like, how dare
Right.
you not ask me?
Right.
Which is such a response to what was happening at the time. Because I remember we have all these doctors. Why aren't they in Doctor Who's 50th special for the whole series? So I remember that whole controversy. I mean, it was big during that time.
Remember when we
What
went to
happened with
the theater to watch it? People were dressed up as them, and they had the signs that said "No doctor, no doctors, no 50th." They were marching. They were marching through all the auditoriums.
So when did this come out, or when did it?
The 23rd, at the same time as the Day of the Doctor.
Yeah, I think they
Oh, okay.
officially
Aired after.
released it right after.
But I guess there was a trailer, so like some of that imagery was probably released before.
Yeah, there are people who are more diehard than us. So yes, I'm sure they got the information.
Because that BBC protest was really funny, with Davison being the only one holding the sign,
Yes.
and the other two guys with their signs, but just kind of sitting like.
Yeah.
And that just happened recently in our history, where I think people were protesting a BBC building, and it was the wrong building. Like, it wasn't the building where anything was being
Oh,
filmed.
I do remember.
Yeah.
And then you get Sylvester McCoy quoting himself about tea, and then Colin Baker calls him out on it. Well, if you can't change it, what's the point of quoting it? Oh, and Davison also leaves Stephen Moffat a voice message, and Moffat doesn't even listen to it, and he deletes it. And I think it's a Cyberman voice. This voice message has been deleted.
Oh yeah, and he kind of
Yes.
looks at his phone funny, like it's been assimilated.
And then we got John Barrowman playing himself, but with a dark secret.
That must have been. I mean, speaking of self-deprecating humor, like that one is just great.
And they're just so shocked, and they just back away from the car.
You keep wondering, what is it? What could it be?
Yeah, that was good.
Do you
He has
know?
a wife and 2 kids? No!
Do you know who they are, Eugene? Are they the kid? They're not his
look-
kids.
No, they are not his kids. One of them is Olive Tennant, which is the daughter of David and Georgia Tennant, and then Alice Knight is the older daughter. I don't know what she's done. And then Sarah Churm plays the secret wife, and she was But I think she worked with them on a non-Doctor Who show, and that's how they got her.
Okay.
Just
I always
looking at-
wonder, because Barrowman's car is like parked on the sidewalk, because he's got a fence in front of the car and there's trees behind his car. It's like, okay, you quickly shot this, didn't you? You just put the car where you could.
Well, if you look at the reverse shot from the three living doctors walking toward the van,
Mhm.
it's raining, so I think they did that to get out of the rain.
Oh, okay.
Well, there was no camera cuts. They were acting running, and I loved watching it.
Going back real quick, while they're in that, I guess, lobby, and then there's a woman waiting for the elevator as the three of them are discussing, and then I think Sylvester McCoy brings up The Hobbit again, and that's when Colin Baker is like, "Oh, The Hobbit! I never heard you mention that before." Davison walks past the camera away, and then there's that girl in like a beer wench type of
German,
yeah, it's like a German
Sound of Music.
Oktoberfest type of thing. Yeah, she was in Village of Angels. I think that's classic Doctor Who. Nope, sorry, that's coming up in what we're with the 13th Doctor. She is an actor. She's going to appear in that, and she was in, I believe, some of the Big Finish audios as well.
Right, but what's the joke there? Because I didn't get it. It went
Me
over
neither.
my head.
There was a cut scene with Davison and her, and she's like, "Peter, it's been such a long time. It was so great working with you. Oh, isn't this wonderful? Yada yada yada. Oh yeah, give a big kiss to your wife. Oh, I got to go. The fans await." And then he turns to the camera. I have no idea. So if it was Big Finish, they maybe never really met.
Yeah,
And she may have been a companion during his time. I couldn't find out much on her.
It could also be just a really, I'll be nice, subtle joke to the fact that they constantly have people running up to them in strange clothes talking to them, because people are always in costume. So
yeah. With this, I saw, yes, they were at a convention. Was it the Four Doctors convention or something like that?
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I looked this up real quick. She was in an audio adventure with each of those doctors, the 5, 6, and 7. So that's like a deep cut.
I know that part could have stayed in, but they were trimming it for BBC.
Yeah.
And at the Comic-Con, the Pensacola Comic-Con, he had said that his daughter Georgia called him up. Peter Davison said his daughter called him up and said that John Barrowman was really upset about not being in the 50th. And that's when he got the idea to add John. I got to write that down. We can maybe put something in for him.
Yeah.
So that's what they went to for this. So it just kept going
Singing
down and
show
on.
tunes.
Yes.
Singing show tunes the whole
So
way to
good.
Wales.
All the way to the Doctor Who experience, right?
Yeah. And then the CDs and everybody. Then for was it the 3 Dalek operators listening to his music? Even they were playing the CD.
Yeah.
And I like that the ticket attendant or whatever had a box of John Barrowman merchandise.
Right.
This just reminded me when Jackson's talking with Ian McKellen, and McKellen doesn't remember who Sylvester McCoy is. And then Peter's like, "Well, he's gone back to London. We'll have to shoot things, and so can you step in and do his stuff?" And Ian McKellen's like, "Sure." And it's probably going to be better.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, that was such a surprise to get both of them.
Yeah.
That was great.
Really surprised me when I first saw it.
when Peter Jackson approaches Ian McKellen and says, "Sylvester is not going to make it," he goes, "Sylvester who?" As opposed to Doctor Who. That's what I thought of.
I also love the fact that Ian McKellen is in full makeup as Gandalf, which means they did this on a shooting day. They did this when they were, in between filming The Hobbit. I like that. That really says that they really wanted to do it, that they were having so much fun. They were like, we'll do it in between scenes when you're in full makeup and we'll do it on the set. They didn't do it like up against a green screen kind of a thing.
Or in a trailer.
Yeah, or in a trailer
clothes.
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw the first scene with Peter Jackson running through set, I honestly just assumed that they took it from a DVD extra. So yeah, that was probably my favorite part of this special, is that surprise. That's probably like my favorite moment of this special.
I think I was so into it that it didn't even occur to me that they would use other footage. It's sort of like I was just right there with it, going, "Oh my gosh!"
It's funny, in between these sections is my favorite bit of this special is when Colin Baker comes home and you see all his family just watching TV and it's like,
Yes.
the package, did you hide it? I'm like, no. And then he comes in with the DVD. It's like, this is extra. It's got more of me. Replacing the one that was lost. And then,
Right.
and then just the only one that I like the cut of it is, and the editing is brilliant where he just sits down on the couch, they're all gone. And it cuts to them trying to get out of the house. And he's like, I've locked it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that stuff that's really fun when they are, in their element and you just, they get to be as hammy as they can be and their family is all, just typical sullen family around a celebrity.
I think we will eventually watch that DVD that he pops in. It's The Vengeance of Varos, which is one of his better episodes.
Cool. Then we'll text him and see if he can watch it with us. Skype it through.
It does. It has a very good social message.
So at this point, the three doctors are in the Doctor Who experience. They steal back their wardrobe, their coats. And then Peter Davison gets that idea to go into the TARDIS. And then I love the joke on that is they're like, Peter, do you think this is a real spaceship?
Right.
Type of thing.
You've really lost it.
It's just so good.
And I think from what I read somewhere, I couldn't find anything else on this, that Sylvester's line, I just want to go home or I want to be out of here. I can't remember what the line is, was something he said in a different movie. So it was a reference to that. But people are just saying that without trying to find out what the movie was. And I ran out of time before the show. So I kept wondering, the joke on Davison thinking it's real, was a good one. It's like, is that why they did this whole scene, was for that joke?
I'd like to go home now.
That's what it is.
But then he's desperate, so he calls in the big guns. So he calls up Georgia,
Right.
but she's in labor.
Yeah,
that was so funny. And then she calls Tennant. Tennant agrees to it, and Tennant's like, "Am I forgetting something?"
And then that's when you find out she's in labor. He just wasn't thinking about it.
and then that's what gets the three of them into the BBC production set. Sound stages area, and I like that they played with the music and
God, that made me laugh so much.
And then they walk in and it's that big orchestral Murray Gold type of music when they're on the stage. It's so good. And then they walk back out, they're like, what?
Yes.
Walk back in, oh okay.
I really like the mundaneness of David Tennant using a fire extinguisher to pop open the door. It's just of course, that's just so human. So doing something for your wife, for your father-in-law, okay.
But right before they went in, it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we rushing around doing all of this stuff? I just love that for the fans.
For the fans.
Because yes, thank you.
And then in here they see the TARDIS console room set and they make fun of how dark it is. And then Peter Davison goes and look, there's something wrong. It doesn't move.
I miss the wobble.
The wobble.
It's so good that they're playing off of all the things that were made fun of in their era.
Right. And Baker, I want to see what I'm doing. He's looking down at the console. It was great to see them in the modern TARDIS. I just want to get a picture of that. I wish I was able to go to the Doctor Who experience. I thought it might be coming to the United States, so I never made it over to London.
I thought that as well, but it's just done.
Maybe they'll bring it back for the 60th.
Oh, I was hoping, because that would look so cool. A friend of mine did go, and she knew I had the Doctor Who podcast and everything, so she gave me what they gave out to you when you went in it, or she was able to buy it from there, which was a key to the TARDIS. It's in the box, and it has the key in there, and it's like, I got a key to the TARDIS. I'm so happy.
That's cool.
What? Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait a minute. Where is this key?
Uh-oh.
In a safe place.
I had no idea you had a key to the TARDIS. You never told me this story.
So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Wait, something's happening with the connection. You guys are all freezing.
You are in so much f***ing trouble.
Okay.
Just a bit.
Oh my God, you really did keep it from me.
I'm going to go use the key, and I'll be back in a little bit, and this whole thing's going to be different.
Why did you not tell me? Oh my God.
Moving on.
Right, moving on.
So how can I follow that up with my?
Back to the actual story here.
Okay.
So my friend also went, and she said that there was a Weeping Angels experience that was really cool, and there was no way to really describe it. You just had to be there, and like she said that they did a good job of having the Weeping Angels sort of appear in the TARDIS console room and then disappear. Yeah. Okay, so from there it moves on into the 3 Dalek operators, and those guys are Nicholas Briggs, who voices the Dalek, Barnaby Edwards, who usually operates the Dalek, and David Troughton, who plays a Dalek operator. He is Patrick Troughton's son, the second Doctor.
I like that they were all reading the Dalek Operators Gazette.
Yeah.
I guess they were just using that as a way to like identify who people were. Like,
Yeah.
the Sixth Doctor had the Sixth Doctor magazine, and these guys had that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't know, because they're always in the Dalek costume thing.
Yeah, but I got it from the outdoor signage that said Dalek operator room. But then, they just kept it going. Like, the room even had like Dalek circle wallpaper. Like, everything Dalek was these guys. Yeah,
Which is probably not what. It's just a regular green room. They're not in a themed room.
just waiting to get into the costumes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was nice that they came out, and that this was their plan to be in the 50th, were to be Dalek operators. But then the scene gets cut ultimately.
Right.
Yeah.
Or ultimately gets cut.
There's also a quick shot of Strax in the corridor.
Yeah.
And I can't think of his last name.
Dan Starkey.
Yeah, so that, I remember thinking, okay, he's not in the 50th, but he's in full makeup. Again, it was like, I can't imagine them putting them in full makeup for this. And then it was like, oh, wait. And remember we told you that he shot a little cameo thing at the beginning of the theatrical showing of the 50th, where he was like, do not talk or I will destroy you. And so it's like, they must have been filming it that day. And they just said, all right, walk down the corridor real quick. It's like they took every opportunity. It's great.
After that, the 3 Doctors are walking, that they're proud that they made it into the 50th.
Right.
And I like that they have their coats on, but then the shirt underneath is that fan-made shirt, where it's a shirt with a printing of what they would wear under the coat.
Right.
It's so good.
I first noticed that when he was picketing.
Mm-hmm.
So Davison was wearing it when he was picketing, and that's when I first noticed it. And then the security finds them, though. So it's like, oh no, what's going on? And turns out security's just a big fan of them all and wants their autographs. So it's
Finally, someone wants their autograph.
Yeah.
It's great.
Can you unlock the gate? Oh, no, I'll call Dave. No, we'll just go right through. We'll go the other way. That's fine. And then when he shows up, 3 people. That's what we're looking for. Done well.
And then after that, I think they get Russell T. Davis. He leaves a voice message with, I think it's Peter Davison.
Yes.
He's like, I would be honored to be in the. Yeah, I like it. He goes, it's Russell T. Davis. Russell the Davis.
Russell T.
Little joke.
I love that. And then Davison does what Moffat did to him and just deletes the message before finishing it.
The announcement said it was a 27-minute long message before he deletes it. Yeah.
And then you see them on the street. You see the 3 Doctors on the street and they're drinking champagne. And Davison's like, you can stop filming now. And then they cut to across the street and you can see the boom mic and the lighting and all that kind of stuff. Well, who's that? That's the making of crew.
They had so much fun with that.
So good.
Oh, I do want to see more behind the scenes stuff of the making of it. I wish they would have actually done that.
And then they were in the special, just under the drapes.
I thought you were going to say in the under gallery.
Yeah. Well, that's where they were. Yeah, they were the ones under the curtains in the under gallery.
They're supposed to be the Zygons.
Yeah.
Oh, no. And then they ended up being.
I love that.
That was so funny.
And then when you watch the 50th, every time they go into the under gallery, it's like,
Right. And also Sylvester putting the hat on over, it's just, lose the hat.
It's fun. It's like you go through all this fun and you're rooting for them, and then once they finally get in, it's cut. You're like, oh, it can't end like that. But then you watch it all the way through, and then they made it in another way. It's great.
Yeah.
And then his assistant doesn't tell him.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell Moffat. No, everything's fine. Let's go on.
Oh my God, I forgot about Kill Damage. Kill Damage, Davros.
Do you think that came up in a writer's room at some point? And everyone's just like, no.
There's a part of me that wonders if Russell, I'm sure he wrote all that, but I wonder if he was making up a lot of it as he was going along too.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Probably why it's 27 minutes long. He just kept going.
Like they had so much fun that they didn't want to get rid of a lot of stuff. So it's weird because there's a lot of times where people talk about those stories on set where they were rewriting as the production went through. They were rewriting the script. But something like this, I think it lends itself to that, where it is about the fun of it. So whatever chemistry and atmosphere you get on the day of the set, I think you just got to go with it.
Right. I want to know if there's any hidden message about what scene was cut with the Daleks. It was 1903. And so I didn't know if that meant anything, but I couldn't find anything on it. I was just wondering why they picked that, or they just picked a random number. That's probably a really deep dive it is. So keep finding out more as we watch it each time. I love that. Oh, and then they did Matt Smith's scene in the Zygons again from a different angle about seeing where all the dust was from and all that. But the voices of the others were there, Jenna Coleman and all that. But it had to have been just shot for this, for Matt Smith. It seemed like.
Yeah, it had to be.
Because they didn't have the other people in it. So it's like, okay. I thought Matt Smith is actually in it. That was really good.
So this special, the Five-ish Doctors reboot, wasn't released anywhere in the States as far as home media, but you can find it on the official Doctor Who website, and also on the Day of the Doctor page. But elsewhere in the rest of the world, there's a 50th anniversary collector's edition box set. It's included on that. I think that's only available in the UK. And then in Germany, there was a Series 8 box set, this was included on that Series 8 box set. It's a shame that we didn't get it like anything in like physical media on it. Me as a completist, I would like to have this somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's on BritBox. It has a very long cast list in the credits.
That's why I'm not going to go through it. Yeah, this is definitely for diehards, because diehards will know who those cameos and what those cameos are and why those cameos are funny. Like Adric exploding is funny.
Yes.
The Tom Baker footage used from Shada, or no, it is from Shada, but they used it in the Five Doctor special as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's a deep dive. If you don't know Classic Who, you won't know where that's from or why that's funny that it's used again to explain why Tom Baker doesn't show up again.
Also in the Fifth Doctor, that was done in 83, and then they remastered it in 95, so the Five Doctors. And so that one was from the 95 version because the special effects were different, having that swirly cape-like
They're
design.
slightly better.
It was different. That's all.
Yes,
I don't know
yes.
better or worse. It was different.
The other thing that came out for the 50th was this book. Oh no. It is the treasures from the 50th, or treasures from the first 50 years Doctor Who, The Vault. And I think all of us have a copy of it now.
Blue hardcover.
Yeah, blue. And it's got some good stuff in it. I don't think it has anything really to do with the War Doctor because they wanted to keep that a secret, but it has everything else.
Just like the Doctor wants to.
But I think it's a very good like coffee table book.
Companion piece.
Yes. Like if you are curious about what they're referring to, you can go there and you can see what these companions look like, what these doctors wore. Like you can see a Zygon if you're watching the 50th. You can go, oh, they did look like that in Classic Who. Or see the Centaurans, how they've changed. You can see how the Daleks have changed, like the color scheme with the Dalekanian balls, the gray, and then now it's like the brass copper look. It's a very good visual aid for anybody that's a fan of the show. And then I have another one. It's the Doctor Who, The Essential Guide, and has a big 50 on it. This one also omits a lot of the War Doctor stuff, but it goes all the way up to 11.
You can turn it up to 11.
That's right. This one does a little bit more like blurbs, I guess. It has pictures for everything that they're mentioning, where I think in the Vault book, it's more about like an era as opposed to this is a page about this companion and this villain. It's like, here's the couple pages of that era. Anyway, those are relatively still available to find if anybody is interested. These are, again, physical media. They're actual books. You have to turn the page. So yeah.
Well, as I said at the top, this is a fun fun episode. I'm not sure if you have to be a diehard to have fun with it. It certainly will help to get everything, but yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and I laughed throughout most of it just because of the human nature of seeing these men who, are in the autumn of their time, but they're still like running around and they're still having fun, and it's a great like sentimental like to remember the good times, but also to know that there's more good times ahead. Like it's just a fun episode. I think it has a lot of heart, and I laughed throughout the whole thing, even not knowing all the Easter eggs.
Yeah, I agree. This was fun to watch. It was definitely funny. And I would even recommend it to someone who hasn't watched any classic Who, as a way to be introduced to these other actors who have also played the Doctor. And, I'm glad that the stars aligned and that Peter Davison and everyone was able to make this, what now is kind of iconic thing. So thanks for point it to my attention, Eugene, and having us watch it. It was fun.
Watch it and then watch it again. The more you watch it, you get a little bit. The more you get the little bits. I can agree with Kelsey that if they don't know the classic, this could be good. But I think it's even better if you're at least familiar with some of the classic. Because I think this does a better job, or a great job, I should say, of the whole series. The classic and bridges with the new Who, from the 2005 reboot of it, the continuation reboot of it. So it does branch both of those, which I think is what Doctor Who's about. It's honoring both. It's not just the classic or just the new. And so I really like it that it does bridge that, and that you can see there is fun that's been running around for 50 years.
For me, I think it's for the diehardiest of all diehards, because, and I mean that in the best way, because you really just have to sit there and appreciate all the jokes and Easter eggs and all that kind of stuff. It's made for the fans.
As the Doctor said.
Yeah, and so it's like, if you're going to get into Doctor Who, get into Doctor Who first and then watch this, so that, you know what all the jokes are. And I'm stumbling.
I would just like to add that being a fan of classic Who adds a certain level of enjoyment when you do watch this, because you will get all the Easter eggs. This thing is nothing but Easter eggs.
Yes.
And I think it's almost impossible to name all of the little Easter eggs. There's probably a dozen that we've missed for every one that we pointed out.
Right.
So that wraps up the 5-ish Doctors special. Thanks for listening, stay safe, and we will see you next time when the future becomes the present. You've just listened to an episode of Who Knew?
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady.
Find him on Facebook at The Universe Explodes.
Additional music is by Damio Paggio.
All our episodes are engineered by Auburn.
You can find him at auburnbakley.com.
You can find the show in several places.
Follow us on Twitter at Who Knew Podcast.
Subscribe, review, and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher.
Or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Who Knew Podcast.
All our episodes are on whonewpodcast.com.
Visit our Facebook page. Please leave comments, reviews, and click like to support Who Knew Podcast.
To listen to our show on your Amazon Echo device, subscribe to us on Amazon Music, and then ask your Amazon device to play your podcast subscriptions.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who,
the longest running sci-fi show in history.
And especially the revival spearheaded by Russell T. Davis.
Thanks to Russell, Sidney Newman, Verity Lambert, Ron Grainer,
and all of those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord.
Your work continues to inspire and entertain.
Which does remind me, I have one more story if I can tell it quick.
Can you tell it quick?
No.
Auburn, put the timer on.
I don't know. Have I ever told you guys the story about the broccoli?
No.
Okay, good. You don't know it. Okay. This is something that just kind of clicked in my friend Jane and my head recently. Jane is watching Doctor Who. Well, she recently just watched Time Crash, where the 5th Doctor meets the 10th Doctor in that fun little scene. And the 10th Doctor is like, oh, look at you in your cricket clothes and vegetable on your lapel thing. Because, the Doctor, he always had this stalk of celery. Well, Jane watched that. And she comes back, she goes, "You never told me. Why didn't you tell me about that?" I'm like, why would I tell you about that? She goes, when we were seniors in high school, we joined, there was this silly thing we did where we joined the croquet society, because it was like, well, everybody's got to be in a club. So we actually created a croquet society. And our teacher, who was the moderator, was like, okay, but I'm going to take this serious. And we had to go through a Hell Week. And you had to do everything in Hell Week or you weren't in the club. One of the days was you had to wear broccoli on your shirt somehow. And it's like, oh my God, I never put the two together. And she's like, was Mr. Masters a Doctor Who fan? And I'm like, he had to have been. That was the current doctor. That was the doctor on right then was wearing celery on his lapel. And he tells all these people to wear broccoli on the lapel. It had to be a connection with Doctor Who. And oh my God, I can't believe I never put that together. The best part though was that was the day of our big class graduating photograph day. So there's like 200 of us, and if you look, there's about 40 people that you can see wearing broccoli. And I'm got like this with a big stalk of broccoli, and Jane's there. Jane and Robin, they were holding their things of broccoli together. Jane also had earrings that were broccoli. But Jane hates it. Jane's just like, it's in my photograph. It's the stupidest thing ever. And I'm like, it's Doctor Who.